Please help me welcome this self-professed leadership junkie, ladies and gentlemen, Doug Keeley.
How are you? Good morning! How are you all? Woo! All right, how many of you have kids and you know the movie Madagascar? All right, when you ask Chris Rock's character, how you doing, what does he say? I'm crack-a-lackin', right? So I'm going to say, how you doing, Ahima? And you give me Madagascar back, okay? How you doing, Ahima? Very good, all right. Now I'm going to talk about leadership for the next hour, and one of my observations about leaders is that we're kind of the end of it all, right? We're where the buck stops. And we get talked to when everything goes wrong, and not enough when things go right. So what I'd like you to do, just to meet your neighbors this morning, is turn to the person beside you on either side and just say something nice to them. You look hot. Man, it's great to sit beside you. You're crack-a-lack, and just do it to the person beside you, okay? Just turn to them. Doesn't that feel great? So, lesson number 1 on leadership. Didn't that feel great? You know, to have someone say something nice about you rather than, good morning, the network's down. Ah! Which is what you usually get, right? So, lesson number 1 is when you go to work in the morning, say something nice to somebody. It is a strange world out there. I was brought here from, I think partly because I'm from Canada. I'm Canadian. And as you know, we have the healthcare thing down. Totally, right? We actually have 2-tier healthcare in our country. And we have totally sorted this out. We have public healthcare and private healthcare. The public healthcare is for the human beings. So the great thing is I never have to worry about getting sick or my family getting sick because I know that we'll get taken care of. And it won't cost me any money. The only problem is everyone with a cold is in a lineup at the hospital in front of me, so I may die waiting for an MRI. The top tier of healthcare is for our pets, and they have private healthcare. My dog Miley can get an MRI in 20 minutes. I just phoned the vet. They got the whole thing at the back. Cost me a few $1,000. Miley's going to outlive me. There's no way I can possibly beat her. So we sort of have it figured out, and I think that's indicative of Canada. We've exported a lot of things, mostly hockey players and comedians. But we do have an interesting view of the world. As I say, it's a strange world out there. For most people, this is what it looks like. And bring your story to a close, please. Could the A's please thank the B's for their great story? All right, now, question. How many of you know more about a person beside you than you did 2 minutes ago? Show of hands. There are some people who are a couple down here in the front. And actually, you should have done it, because when you do that, you'll find at the end of it, you will both go, really? You thought that was important? Or, you never told me that before. All right. So all of you know more about the person sitting beside you than you do 2 minutes ago. Bigger question, how many of you know more about the person sitting beside you than you do about some of the people who work for you? Show of hands. Be honest. And how many of you know more about the person beside you than you do about your spouse or lover? Because that's a problem. There's a message in that. Other than, I think it's a fun thing to do to break the ice to meet people. But the message is this. In 1 minute, you learned a lot about the person beside you, about what their buttons are, about what got them there. We all have a story. Story is critically important to all of us as human beings. And the thing about leaders is whether you take the time to find the story out or not. It's easy to go on the surface. Here's my responsibilities. We're all busy. We're all overloaded. But if you want to work with your team to help them be the best they can be, you have to know their story. Because their story is what got them there. In the story is all their buttons. What to push to get them up or down, or how to get them out of things, or why sometimes they show up at work in grumpy moods or stressed or whatever. If you don't know the story, you can't lead. End of conversation. And I would put to you that one of the most important things when you go back to your work environment that you can possibly do is spend that minute. Spend the minute you just spent here. Instead of talking about the football game or whatever you talk about, say, hey, how did you get here? Ask the question. Number one, people love to talk about themselves. Number two, you will be a better leader and you will be better connected to everyone who works for you. So, I have only a couple of minutes left, and I want to just wrap up with a couple of thoughts. And as I say, we're going to, for those of you who are available, we're going to dig deeper into this idea of 5-level leadership this afternoon at 1 o'clock. I'm selling my workshop, folks, just in case that wasn't clear. I won't sell anything else, just the workshop. We're going to have fun. So here's what I hope you walk away with. Number one, if your people aren't engaged on all 5 of their levels as human beings, they're not performing to their potential. They're not going to be capable of doing what we say leadership's about at the Mark of a Leader, which is helping the people to do things they didn't know they could do until they did them. And the 5 levels, again, are, just do this, spirit, imagination, intellect, heart, and hands. It's not hard. And we saw some stories of people who broke through the barriers around that, the barriers inside our heads, in the case of Bannister, the barriers inside other people's heads, making judgments about the Hoyts and what they were capable of doing. And the cynicism. You know, how many of you have Bob Geldofs in your organization who would do something great if only their power was unleashed and focused? Because my experience working with literally hundreds of Fortune 500 companies and associations in my career is that those are inside every organization. And I'd like to leave you with a thought about leadership, and it's actually a poem. It was written by Rudyard Kipling. It's my favorite poem, and I think it says a lot about all of us as leaders. And the poem is called If. And the poem goes like this. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all people doubt you and yet make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not grow tired of waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truths you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, and watch as the things you gave your life to are broken, and stoop and build them up again with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your earnings and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will that says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither loving friend nor foe can hurt you, if all people count on you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and all that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a leader. Thank you. I hope to see some of you this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed that. Time to get on with your program. Thank you for having me here. It was really great. Good luck to all of you. Make sure the people that you're helping get the same good health care my dog Miley does, okay? Thank you, everybody. Thank you.